Welcome to the CrossFit Max podcast.
What is going on, everybody? And thank you for tuning into this episode. Guess what? We have our first guest on the podcast, and I'm excited for you guys to listen to this. We are essentially going to break down my entire 16-week half marathon running program by Coach Alan. So I'm excited for you guys to get into it. We hope that you enjoy it. And if you do, please give us a rating and a review. It really helps get our podcast out to some new people. All right, let's get into this epic podcast. 3, 2, 1. What is going on, everyone? And welcome to the CrossFit Max podcast. We got Papa Miller as our first guest.
You can call me Al, as the song goes.
Big Al. So we got Coach Alan, Papa Miller, Susie's wonderful father, and he is subbing in for her today. We're giving her a little bit of a break.
Part of the granddad duties is subbing in for the podcast.
Yeah, let's just say little T wasn't cooperating very well over the last couple weeks, so
that's cool. It's a good opportunity for me. This is weird, actually, because I've been podcasting in my own podcast for about 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
I've never done a podcast face-to-face.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
it's true, because you always do it Zoom.
Yeah, Liz and I started doing our running book reviews podcast.
Yep.
Little
plug
COVID,
there.
In COVID. Yeah, plug.
Yeah.
If you haven't been there, go there now. Forget this. But we started in COVID, so we started like remote.
Mm-hmm.
And that was just sort of convenient, and we got into a rhythm, and we always do remote. So we're always in two different places when we do our podcast.
So now we're within 2 feet away from each other.
This is strange, but fun.
All right. Well, you know the drill. You've been listening to the podcast for a year and a bit now. There's always a banter topic at the beginning.
Yes.
And this whole episode is a little bit of a case study on taking me through the Coach Allen half marathon program. So I figured the banter topic should be about another case study that I've been experimenting on the side that you don't even know about.
Oh, okay.
And I think you'll enjoy this. We talk about the importance of creatine all the time on the podcast. And for those of you guys who...
So you've been slipping it into my breakfast without telling me?
Unfortunately, I don't see you that often, but I'll rewind a little bit here. When little T was born, when Thomas was born, your grandson, your lovely grandson, who likes to not sleep very much and cry a lot, for the first couple weeks, I would say for the first 2 weeks, I was offering to make Susie her coffee in the morning. She had a C-section, so she wasn't able to really walk around and move well. Plus, she was up throughout the nights with Thomas. And for most of the 2 weeks, she declined it. And that was, I guess, just because her sleeping pattern was all over the place. So when she woke up, when I woke up, she simply wanted to kind of go back to sleep.
Yeah.
So for the first 2 weeks, she kind of just rejected the offer of me making her coffee. So last week, she told me that she was a little upset that I wasn't offering to make her coffees anymore. So naturally, after the first 2 weeks, I stopped asking her. And then because she just kept rejecting it, so then I just was like, I'm just not going to ask her anymore.
Moved into a coffee zone.
Yeah,
basically.
so she doesn't want coffee. Anyway, so last week she was saying that I should be a little bit more considerate and I should make her coffees. So ever since then, I've been making her coffees every single morning. And she's finding this out now as she's editing this podcast, and all you guys are listening, hearing this. I've been putting creatine in her coffee every single morning. And for the better part of a year before this, I've been trying to get her to take her creatine because of not just the performance benefits of creatine monohydrate, but also the health benefits as well. And she's always said, no, it changes the taste of my coffee. It changes the taste of my coffee.
Okay.
So for the last about 6 days now in a
So
row.
when she hears this, she realizes she hasn't been tasting it.
Yeah.
She just thought, postpartum, my coffee tastes different. I won't mention it. I don't want Brandon to stop making me the coffee.
Oh, no. She has been enjoying it because even this morning when we were out for a walk, the whole family, she was like, oh, I just really appreciate you making these coffees. It's so good in the morning. Little does she know there's been creatine in it every single day.
So you've been doping. Creatine doping.
For your daughter. And her recovery is going to be significantly increased just by the creatine monohydrate that's been going into her system over the last few days. I hope she
appreciates it. If she doesn't, this comes out on Wednesday. So on Thursday, when I come to the gym, if you're not here, I should probably call or text to see if you're okay.
By Thursday, she's gonna be making her own coffees, I would imagine. Anyways, I thought I would share that with you.
Okay. Interesting
and
stuff.
I thought I would share that with the listeners, because for a good amount of time, even there's a few of her friends who have been like, no, my coffee tastes different when I put the creatine monohydrate in my coffee. But to me, it's flavorless. It even says flavorless on the coffee, or on the label, excuse me.
So what do we learn from that?
Well, you need to.
Well, you learned from that.
I learned that I need to be considerate.
You learned from that creatine doesn't taste of much if you put it in coffee. I learned from that if Brandon offers you a drink, be very careful. What are your circumstances? Sniff it. Have your friend taste it first.
Yeah.
Because he puts unauthorized substances in the drinks that he gives you.
She's going to come back to the gym like bulkier than ever. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, so I've been putting some creatine in your daughter's coffee every single morning.
Okay.
So thought I would share that with you. Hopefully you appreciated that banter topic. So I was looking for, you know what, last week when I asked you to be on this podcast, I was like, okay, I know exactly what banter topic I'm going to discuss with Alan. And Susie's going to edit this podcast going through this and hearing all this.
Also partially you can't keep it in.
Nope.
Yeah, you have to confess.
Yeah.
Which is a good sign.
Anyways, we're moving on from the banter topic. Coach Alan, give him a little 60-second breakdown of your running background. You as a person.
Just from a running background?
Yeah.
Yeah. 60-second background. Okay, starting.
No.
I guess I've been running ever since, semi-seriously ever since I was a PhD student. So in my 20s, I'm in my mid-60s now. So that was sort of more to keep my psychological stability while I was going crazy, doing research and really working my brain very, very hard. Maybe not working my body that much. It was like a really good way of doing that. And then I got more and more into it, and eventually, as it does, it creeps up on you.
Mm-hmm.
And being an avid soccer player, I already had some fitness, so I went into running pretty naturally. And I guess I don't have a huge physique. I'm quite lightweight, so endurance running came to me relatively well.
We have to get you on the.
For that.
We have to get you on the creatine.
And then and I guess that was the origin story. After that, I was mostly into soccer, but I kind of got increasingly into running, increasingly out of soccer.
Mm-hmm.
And as I got older, soccer's very much a young person's sport, and you get injured. And I wasn't really into getting injured all the time at soccer. So off I went with running, and I've just gone from, to the marathon, and then gotten into trail running, multiple day type of trail events where you run, say, for 7 days, 8 days through the Alps. Yeah. Get up every morning, run to another village.
It's intense.
I did a 9-day trail run in Nepal, in the Himalayas.
You did that with Guillaume?
Running up, yeah.
That's Lucy's partner?
Yeah, with Lucy's other half.
Yeah.
Slightly not quite as big a half. We both went and spent a few weeks in the Himalayas, basically running, which was absolutely fantastic. And I've done, Rocky Mountain runs and things like that.
Yeah.
Then during COVID, I started to focus on marathon training, and I noticed one of my running partners in the club that we run for Phoenix runners, for Phoenix. She's called Liz. You know her well. She does photography for you.
She does the photography here. Yeah. She's also the co-host of your other podcast, the Running Book Reviews.
We were running together, and we realized that not only were we similar paced, and we started to have maybe a collective ambition to run a sub 3 hour marathon, because we were both the same sort of pace.
Yeah.
But we also realized that we're both into reading on running. So
Yeah.
we started a podcast called Running Book Reviews, which has been going for 4 years.
Yeah.
About every 2 weeks, twice a month, in fact.
Yeah.
We release an episode which usually covers one running book in its entirety. We try to get authors on as well. So
Yeah.
it's,
You have some really
it's
cool
a little
guests.
bit more complicated. And
Yeah.
it's sort of a more lengthy podcast.
But I guess it does, like the Zoom does allow you to reach these authors.
That's
though.
the brilliant thing about
Yeah.
it, yeah.
Yeah.
And we've talked to some pretty eminent people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know,
How many podcasts?
Olympic medal winners and coaches of Olympic medal winners.
Yeah. How many podcasts have you guys released? Do you know?
Around 100,
Wow.
I think.
And then how many downloads?
Cumulatively, we're currently cumulatively at about 40,000.
Wow. That's a lot of downloads. We are,
Yeah.
after this podcast, we'll be at 8,000.
If you measure it in download minutes, it's massive
Yeah.
because all of our podcasts are usually about
2 hours, an hour and a half?
1 hour and a half
Yeah.
to 2 hours. So
Yeah.
times 40,000
Yeah.
is a lot of
minutes.
download minutes.
Yeah. Okay. Quick question. Backtracking here. PhD.
Yeah.
Is that where you met Mama Miller?
Yeah, that's right.
Oh, wow. Okay.
That's
Was
another
she-
origin story. Sarah, we should-
Was she running as well at that time?
Yeah, I think she was.
Okay.
She'd already done like a 20-mile run
Okay.
at university.
Okay. Wow.
And we ran together for a while.
20 miles,
We did
that's-
triathlon for a while
Yeah.
together as well.
Yeah.
Short distance triathlon up to about an Olympic distance try.
Gotcha. And then the other thing for soccer, I feel like soccer is one of the sports that you probably run the most in. I don't know if there's another sport that you actually record that amount of mileage.
I don't know. On average, I think you run about 10K in
Yeah.
a soccer game.
Yeah, I don't think there's another sport like basketball. It's very short distance
Yeah,
sprints,
but you're going up and down, up and down. I don't know what the distance.
but
you
it's
cover.
also a much shorter game too in terms of time wise. It's like
True.
half. It's a
True.
like
Yeah.
24-minute, I believe, that we played. So yeah, I think. Anyway, so you were saying like that's a lot to digest right there. A lot of cool things that has brought you here today, and then
Yeah, and
give them.
what I found actually, probably, I should mention it because I'm in front of a microphone.
Yeah.
Is after I retired, I started to devote myself to the training, to the
Mhm.
running training,
Yeah.
a bit more scientifically and a bit more comprehensively. Basically, just trying to learn from all the books I was reading and trying to train like an elite.
Yeah.
But downscaled in terms of speed,
Mm-hmm.
but do all the things that you need to do. And I found that my running was improving. And then I thought, for funsies, I'll try and break some records.
Yeah.
So I
give
have-
him some of your times. Give him what's your 5K? You just broke the 5K.
I just broke
record.
the 5K age group record. That was sub 20 minutes, but I have a PR 5K of 18:20.
Jesus. Okay, so 18:20 for 5K,
I
10K.
have a 10K PR of 35:59, just under 36 minutes.
That is insane.
But that's not the record because
Yeah.
I said that many years ago.
Okay.
I set the Quebec age group record 4 weeks ago, something like that.
Yeah. At what time?
Just under 40 minutes, so
Okay.
39, something 57.
Give people the average pace per kilometer for that so they can understand that a little bit better.
Okay, that's like 40 minutes for 10K, so that's
Yeah.
easy. 4 minutes
Yeah.
per K.
But under that.
Yeah.
So it's 350 something per
Yeah.
kilometer for
Yeah.
10K straight.
Yeah.
That is unreal. And then we're working up the chain here. Half marathon. Do you know your half marathon? Have you done a half marathon recently?
I've done lots and lots in the past, and
Yeah.
my PR is probably about 1 hour 20, about 80 minutes and something, but that I'll
Okay.
never see that again.
Okay.
That's many moons ago.
Okay.
But I did do a half marathon in 83 minutes about a year and a half ago, something like that.
And then last one. Oh, actually, you did the Ottawa half marathon, no? You did the
Yeah.
5, 10, and then
Yeah.
the half marathon.
Yeah, 94 minutes.
94
1
minutes.
hour 34.
Jesus, that's
Yeah.
crazy. And just
Age
to,
group record for Quebec.
yeah, and just to also let the listeners know that, or know this, you did the Saturday 5K, then you rested, 60 minutes, about an hour, 2 hours, and then did
Yeah.
the 10K,
Yeah.
and then the next morning you ran the half marathon.
Yeah.
So you did the 5, 10, and then the half marathon. And the goal was to break the age group record for all 3 of those.
Yeah.
And you did.
Yeah.
Incredible. Okay. And then give them your best marathon.
2 hours 58.
Yeah. That's fast.
But I actually did, in 2022, I did 2 hours 59 something. I'm going to run twice under 3 hours.
Okay.
So I was quite impressed that I was able to 25 years later run under the 3 hours again.
Yeah.
When I'd never done it for 25 years.
Yeah. I remember you running that, and I believe I was coaching on a Sunday morning. The most recent sub 3 hour. It was a couple years ago you did that.
Yeah.
And I remember there was a lot of hype going into that run. We were following you a lot. And I remember coaching that morning, and in between the 9 and 10 a.m. class, tracking you on the app and just following along. And we had a group message with the family, and we're like texting each other back and forth, like, okay, he's on pace.
That's cool.
And then I also remember driving home and illegally having my phone open and kept refreshing the time, because it would show, like, essentially there's checkpoints usually in marathons, especially big ones.
Yeah, you run over mats, time mats.
And the website will update where you are. And I remember, like, oh shit, like, he's gonna do it. I remember having like goosebumps in the car driving home from the gym, which was pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, a significant problem was that I was ahead of schedule.
Yeah.
And so I was about like 1 or 2 minutes ahead of schedule.
Yeah.
All the way up until near the end, and then I started to crash.
Yeah, we started seeing
so
that.
It got quite desperate towards the end.
Yeah. And then
Which
the
was
amount
a fun
of
story, but not a fun experience.
But that was a very cool experience. I remember that, having that feeling in the car, refreshing. Oh shit, he's gonna do it. And then and then seeing you did it.
So
it
you're obviously a bit turned on by running, and this is why you ended up
so
getting motivated for your own running.
If you aren't following me at all on any social media, for the listeners here, I have been tracking and also putting some social media content out that I've been training for a half marathon. And I have hired my lovely father-in-law over here to write me a program.
Yeah, parental rates are pretty good.
Yes, indeed. Maybe we'll give you a CrossFit Max t-shirt at the end or something. Only if I hit my goal. But essentially, last year when all of you guys did there was a group of friends that I had and some members at the gym that ran either the half marathon or the full marathon at the Petit Train du Nord marathon.
Yeah.
And
I ran the marathon.
You ran the marathon. Time. Yeah. That was a little bit more than 3 hour. Yeah. I remember that was a really warm day.
3:07, I think.
Yeah. And I remember seeing you in a decent amount of pain towards the end. I think that was the most pain I've seen you in ever. Yeah, you were pretty beat up in that run there. But it was still extremely inspiring to see so many athletes do the half marathon, so many athletes do the full marathon. We had like Lucy and Jason also go and complete the full marathon, which was really cool. I got to see you and Liz do the marathon as well. So there was a lot of high emotions and hype around that, and I just thought to myself, you know what, like, this has always kind of been on my bucket list to just do. There isn't a reason why I should not be able to do this, besides the fact that you just got to put in the work and train for it. So I decided after that run that I would sign up for the half marathon the following year. And back in January, like 6-7 months ago, I remember the registration opened up for that race, and that race tends to get sold out pretty quick.
Yeah, it does.
And I remember Susie and I were both really sick during that time. And I remember being on the couch, and Susie's like, the registration opened up. I'm going to sign you up. And of course, she was pregnant, so she wasn't signing herself up. And she's like, I'm just going to sign you up. And then I was having all the doubts because I had like high fever. I was really sick. And saying, no, I don't know if I should anymore. She's like, no, I'm signing you up. And I was like, okay, just sign me up before I'd like second guess it, you know? And then she signed me up. And then, yeah. So we started a run club here to try to get me to be a little bit more accountable in the running.
Consistent.
So Sunday mornings, we started with a 5K free run club at CrossFit Max. People show up at 8 a.m. before the 9 a.m. class, and then we all go out. And that was kind of like the the idea of me getting my butt out there and having others to help support me during that period. So we did that for a couple months. I think I started that in March or April. And then about a month ago, no, a little bit more than a month ago, about 7 weeks ago, about 2 months ago, I reached out to you and I said, listen, like I need some sort of plan to get ready for the half marathon, because if I just wing it, I'm not going to hold myself accountable to the distance, to the training. Yeah. And so I just reached out to you and I was like, what do you think about coaching me through this?
Not a problem. It's easy to give the coaching. It's somewhat more difficult to deliver the coaching that you're given. But I guess I'll provide an accountability process for you.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit about what your process was like as me reaching out to you to say, hey, Papa Miller, I need a plan.
Unlike somebody that would come in off the street and just say, oh, I have this desire. I want to run the marathon. Mm-hmm. Give me a coaching plan. Unlike someone like that, I know you a little bit, and I know your background, so I had quite a bit of information. So I just said, okay, you want to run a half marathon? What sort of time do you want to run a half marathon? Mm-hmm. And you said the thing that everybody almost says.
Almost everyone says.
Oh, under 2 hours.
Yep.
It
just sounds pretty.
This magical milestone. We'll talk about it later when we go through your training, maybe in a few weeks' time. But I'm probably going to ask you at some stage in the next few weeks, if you run 2:01, will you consider yourself a failure? And we'll see how that that plays out.
The answer is yes. You already know that.
We need to reprogram that a little bit, but it's not going to happen, so don't worry. Mm-hmm. So you come to me, you say, okay, will you give me a program? For sure, I can give you a program. I'll need to know some things, but I'll build and I'll tell you the things that I sort of asked you. Yeah. Just so the listeners sort of understand a little bit about the first touch that you have. I said, okay, have you run a half marathon before?
No.
Have you done any races recently? The running, and we knew that you had because I saw you run some 5Ks in Parkrun in Australia, in Fingal Bay, where we were staying in Australia in January. Yeah. And so I looked up your time. I was able to then take your time and plug it into some pace calculators that do calculations. Basically, they'll take a time and say, okay, if you can run a 5K at this time, you should be able to run a 10K at not 2 times that, but 2 times plus. Yeah. And it'll give you the plus. Yeah. And you can go, okay, and you should be able to run a half marathon in this time. Yeah. And if I plug in your 5K time and I look at the half marathon, it says you should be able to run in 150, quite low, 53, something like that. Yeah. And you go, wow, that looks easy for you.
Yeah. Fortunately, it's not that easy.
Sorry, it doesn't work like that, because at 5K, you're using a lot of your advantages, which are short-term endurance that you got from the gym, and power that you get from the gym, and superb mental effort. I saw you racing some poor old guy at the end of the... In fact, I have a video. Has anyone seen that video? I have a small video because I was already finished. Now I videoed you coming in, flogging this poor old guy at the finish line.
We should pause there and just tell them, just in case you're not sure, a park run is a global event that takes place every single Saturday in so many different countries around the world. It is a 5K fun run. That's kind of what they market as, a fun run, where you show up to these different parks all around the world. There's some in Canada, everywhere in Europe. There's some in Australia, or there's many in Australia. So we did the one right next to the Airbnb that we were staying at in Fingal Bay. And the cool thing is that it's completely free. So anyone can show up to these really fun 5K runs. It's ran entirely based on volunteers. There's no, to my knowledge, there's no sponsors. There's no money that's taken from it. It's purely just a free event for anyone, and you can go and do it, and everyone is tracked. So essentially you go online, you create a profile, you get a barcode, and then essentially
you can use that barcode anywhere in
the world.
Park run anywhere in the world.
Yeah. So
and it accumulates your statistics forever.
Yeah. So what happens is you show up to that park. There's volunteers that brief you on the event. They'll say, hey, we're going to run to this way. They'll tell you a little bit about the, the actual course itself. And then they'll ask you questions like, oh, do we have any out-of-towners, any travelers? And, in Fingal Bay, it was pretty cool because it was like Australia Day. So there was a lot of travelers at that point. There's people from Europe, people from Canada. So it's a really fun event. And at that time, for one of the three that I did, there was almost 300 athletes, I believe, which was really cool. But you can go, so essentially you run the 5K, and then at the very end, at the finish line, they give you a chip, if I'm not mistaken. And then you go to another timer, and then they scan the chip that they give you, and they scan the barcode on your phone.
Yeah, the chip has your finishing
time
on it, and the barcode that you have has all your details, personal details.
Exactly. So that's how they know the time.
The two up, and then in 20 minutes you get an email.
Yeah.
Because you've registered using your email.
Yeah.
In 20 minutes you get an email with the complete results of the whole event.
Exactly. And like every single
quite
person
superb,
there.
Actually.
It's really a great, and the fact that it's free also is really cool. So some people actually go there to race 5K.
Yeah.
But I would say majority of people just go there for a fun run. They just go to show up and run the 5K. You can take a stroller
with your child. You can take your dog.
That's what I was going to say. There was a lot of families that will walk.
You get a few people who are going hard at the front.
Yeah.
Most people, I think, are going more conservatively.
Yeah. So we did 3 of them in Fingal Bay, and what Alan is talking about that older gentleman, that for 4.8 kilometers ran maybe
Just
right at my tail,
and then tried to run
to run past me at the very last bit, and I was having none of it, and I sprinted towards the end and just beat him out.
But you were very on the limit of your
yeah. But so I believe, if I'm not mistaken, that was the final park run that we were there, and I had been training in Fingal Bay. Like I'd started picking up running at that time. Like I was running maybe 2 or 3 times a week.
You knew the routes, so you knew where the little hills might be.
Yeah. So I really gave it my all, and I finished like 24 minutes and 20 seconds or something like that.
Yeah, and what that time tells me, if I put it into some of the pace calculators, is that you should have easily a half marathon under 2 hours.
Mm-hmm.
However, you're actually not trained. You're not in any shape to do a half marathon. Yeah. Because you lack the endurance aspect.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I can attest to that.
You have the power. You can go hard for 5K, but you'll fade. And so my evaluation of you is you have the potential, so it's there.
Yeah.
You have a missing element, which is your long distance endurance.
Mm-hmm.
So that I have to think about focusing on putting that into your training.
Yeah.
Which makes it boring for you, because that means you've got to go longer and slower.
Yeah. And that was kind of the first part of it, right?
Yeah.
So before we even got into the program, you had told me, you said, hey, like at this date, we'll be 16 weeks out from the half marathon. So you pretty much just said, hey, for the next 2 weeks, I don't care what distance you do, I need you to go out and run essentially consistently for the amount of frequency that you want to do in the training program, which my frequency that I was willing to commit to the program was 3 times per week.
Yeah, so you said three times a week. So to begin with, you haven't been running 3 times a week, so just go out and run 3 times a week.
Yeah, so I've been running
take it easy. The idea is to be able to run 3 times a week without it being debilitating, because it's going to accumulate.
Yeah.
We're going to go for 16 weeks.
Yeah.
And you're going to do 3 every week for 16 weeks.
Yeah.
So show that you can do that. Now, once we've done that, we'll start to build what I call an endurance block.
Yeah.
So now you've got a program. We've got 3 runs. The runs are probably going to consist of a long run, an easy run. That will probably be your run club.
Yeah, the Sunday, yeah.
With some tweaks as we go along. And then a run that I would call I call them SOS. I think I got it out of a book. Something of substance,
Okay.
which means you're going to do something
Some
that's
speed work.
some very fast work for a small distance, or some faster work for a longer distance, or some half marathon speed work for quite a long distance, depending on where you are in the program.
Yeah.
And to begin with, you're just going to be doing long, slow efforts. That's the endurance block. Then you'll go into a speed block where you'll do some fun things that you'll probably enjoy a lot, that some people would hate, where you got to go, okay, you go slow for a while. Now you got to go fast, really fast, but only for a short time. Now rest, run slowly. Now go fast again. Yeah. And you'll find that kind of probably fun, easy to do. Some people find that difficult if they don't have the speed and they have the endurance. They'll find that hard and they'll have to do more of it probably.
Yeah.
And then when we get nearer to race day, we'll go into a more of a race specific training where you'll do more blocks of the speed that you're going to have to do for the half marathon.
Yeah.
And all the way through this, you're building up your long run so that you can tolerate the distance, the 21.1 kilometers that you're going to have to go on race day.
Yeah. Excellent.
And then you have a little taper towards the end, get fresh and hungry, and go.
Yeah, I guess this is the fun part about the individual coaching program, because it's not just like a template that you're throwing at me. Anyone can find.
Yeah, you can go and look it up on the web. You can do it.
You could pay $10, Google half marathon program. Garmin, I get ads for Garmin all the time to get one, But this is the personal aspect of things. Like you said, some people, the speed work might be really, really hard, but for me, a CrossFitter who loves the speed and the intensity and the fast, hard stuff, but actually struggles at doing the slow, longer stuff, this is where you can start to add that individual attention. So just to let people know right now, there was a beginning, just 2 weeks. It was off program. It was, hey, just go and run 3 times per week. I was able to do that. And then we started the real program 16 weeks out. Yeah. And yesterday I just completed week 4 of the program,
which was cutback week.
Cutback week, yeah.
Because one of the other natures of the beast is that I'll progress. I'll give you a program that'll progress. Yeah. A bit more in week 2, a bit more in week 3. Now, when I've got you to that point, maybe we're going to drop back a little bit or plateau out to give you a chance to consolidate that effort in terms of recovery and consolidation. You've moved your ability forward. Now let's make that good and permanent. Yeah. And then we go again. Yeah. So that's kind of how it works. Nothing goes up in a straight line. Yeah.
It's interesting you say that, because last week I felt really, really good as well. I would say up until the week that just passed, the 4th week that I just completed, I was struggling. I felt like in terms of recovery of everything, like I was feeling a little bit better every single time, but for sure, like even you were at our condo when I did one of the big runs on the Thursday. You were helping Susie with Thomas, and I came back and it was a 8K run with some 20-second strides at the end. So I was really pushing for those 20 seconds. And one of my goals was also to not just run hard for the 20 seconds, but instead of walking at the end for like 40-ish seconds to recover, just keep jog. Yeah, easy jog, just keep moving. And I was able to do that. And I just came in from that run and I was like on cloud 9. I was like, that was the best run I've ever done in my entire life, and I felt so good. And
it's kind of a little bit because the week before you did a 10K run.
Yes,
so
absolutely.
Now an 8K run, which 4 weeks ago would have been, oh my god,
brutal.
It's a drop back.
Yeah, which literally 2 weeks, like the weeks before that, 2 weeks prior, I did do an 8K run, and I felt pretty rough. That's when I got like huge blisters on my feet, and I was like, what the heck is going on? So yeah, it's interesting from my experience so far is that first 2 weeks it was just about getting out and like, okay, like going out and like just putting my shoes on and going outside. Yeah. It's hard to get out there and run. I want to go do this CrossFit training instead, that's intense and hard and fast and stuff. But it's like, all right, now I just got to go do a light jog out there and stop myself from going fast. I'd look at the Strava and be like, oh shoot, I'm going way faster than what coach has programmed for me. So I got to slow down a little bit. And then it's just like the mental of like what am I like now? I'm running on the road for 36 minutes essentially to run a 6K. It's just a different sport,
sort of,
you know, like
it's a bit more zen, I think.
Yeah. But for a CrossFitter or someone who maybe isn't like myself, who's always in my mind, it's hard to be zen in those states.
As a coach, I think the first things that occur to me is, okay, I'm going to give you a program. I'm going to make sure you don't get injured. You can tolerate what I'm going to give you.
Yeah.
And not only that you don't get injured doing this exercise today, but that you don't accumulate too much so that you get injured in the long term.
Yeah.
And that's almost the hardest thing to do in running, because everybody wants to go, okay, I got this. Oh, he's told me to run a 6-minute pace, but 6-minute pace, I can do much better than that. Of course you can. Yeah, but now's not the time. Yeah. Get it back in your pants. Yeah, we got to take it easy for a while.
In CrossFit, we say ego at the door. Leave your ego at the door. You know.
Yeah, but it's hard to do because it's over a long period. It's a long game type of effort.
Yeah. So 4 weeks.
Something that I haven't talked to you about in your training program is a race in between now and half marathon day.
Oh, interesting. I'm game for that. You're telling me I get to go hard and fast?
10K.
Okay.
I'm going to, Liz and I, in our marathon training program, we have a half marathon.
Okay.
At Brossard on the 25th of August. So if you want to come do the 10K then.
I have a big bachelor party that weekend.
Some people are committed and consistent with their training.
Don't
Some
do that to me.
have big bachelor parties.
It's my best friend's bachelor party, Alan. But yes, I would love to actually do a test in between. But anyways,
we'll see if we can find one.
Yeah, we'll find one in between here.
That's useful. I mean, after trying to make sure you don't get injured, after that is, are you going to have fun?
Yeah.
Because, it's the training itself shouldn't be the price you have to pay so you can do the half marathon. The training itself should be a journey that you think, this is cool.
Yeah.
Like, wow, I did that, or I get to do that, or wow, that's interesting, or this bit was fun.
Yeah.
That bit was boring, but this bit was fun.
Yeah.
And that you enjoy the journey. I think if you, as runners out there, guys, if you program yourself to love the journey, then you don't have to clutch hard for the goal. It kind of comes to you.
Yeah.
It kind of just comes. The ideal thing would be you'll run the sub 2 hours on race day and you'll say, what was the big deal?
Yeah.
I could have done better than that. You made me go slow. You made me go slow for the first half of it, because I probably will. I would say keep it quiet.
I would say if there are people listening though, I'm not a runner, and Alan knows this. The most I've ever done was during the COVID time. You put on these virtual 10Ks, and I did a couple of those, but those were really hard on my body, and I never really trained for them.
Yeah.
There was one that I trained for.
Those. I was just doing them.
It was COVID, and you were putting on these fun virtual things, so I just kind of joined in for the fun of it. But I'm not a runner. Like, before this journey, anything more than 5K was like, it's kind of boring. You know, like, I want to keep it short. 5K is the limit of me running. But I kind of unlocked that mindset of, if I want to sign up for something, if I want to do something on the bucket list, then it's got to be hard. This is not something that's easy.
Yeah, it can't be a gimme.
It can't just be something that's, I'm going to sign up for this thing and it's just going to happen. It's like, I want to sign up for this thing and I want to put in the hard work to get it done. And the hard part is not just running fast. It's not always that. It's just about following the program, getting out there and running, going slower.
Mastering the process. Mastering the process, to put it in a general term.
Yeah.
There's all these aspects. I mean, there are more aspects that some things that I haven't given you because I know you. So I'm not going to talk to you about your food. You're obsessive about your food.
Yeah. My creatine is in my coffee every morning.
It's in everybody's coffee, guys. Check your coffee before you. If I didn't know you and you were coming in, I would say, are you doing any strength training? Are you doing any resistance training to injury-proof yourself?
Yeah.
Now, obviously, you are.
absolutely.
You're doing plenty of that, so I
Yeah.
don't have to give you any of that.
Yeah,
I mean, probably what you're doing is not as runner specific
correct.
as if you were just a runner, but easily enough, more than enough.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't have to talk to you about that, but I would if you were, someone who didn't do other sports.
Yeah, I mean, strength training is key for not hurting yourself, also to be able to like still push yourself when it comes to the race, doing the hard things as well, like there is a huge part of the not getting injured that I think is important for strength training, incorporating into your running program. I would say that has been one of the biggest struggles to balance CrossFit and running at the beginning, because from
That's
someone
why you
who
asked me for 3 days a week.
Yeah,
So if you asked me, I would say 4 days a week.
Yeah, but even then, like before, I would train CrossFit 6 days per week. So now I'm training CrossFit 3 days per week, and I'm doing 3 runs per week. That being said, the last 2 weeks I've kind of settled in, but now I'm actually taking 2 rest days. So I'm doing 6 training sessions, but they're split into 5 days of work. So there's one day on the Sunday where I'm doing the easy run that you program for me. With the run club, I've been extending it just a little bit more. And then I've been doing the group training after. But yeah, I also have like an extensive background of 10 years of strength training prior to doing that. So it's not something that I'm too worried about in this 16-week program of not having it,
The thing that I would be worried about a little bit that I haven't talked about yet, that's probably the last on the list of non-running things that support your running, is sleep.
Oh yeah.
You've got a
a non-sleepy baby.
You've got a brand new baby.
Yeah.
So that's probably the challenge for you. I don't know how to fix that other than just make you aware of it.
Yeah, for sure. Sleep has been a struggle. It's part of just
kind of say minimum 7 hours.
Yeah.
Haha. Yeah,
It's
in
like
20 minute sections.
Yeah. I will
1 hour at a time.
I will say your daughter has been awesome on this. She has taken the overnight responsibilities, because at the end of the night she does have to wake up with Thomas to feed him.
Full time.
So luckily she has been the one that's been waking up and feeding him and taking on that responsibility. My sleep does get broken up because he doesn't wake up to, "Hey mom, can you give me food, please?" Wakes up to a kookaburra screaming. So I have been struggling at keeping consistent sleep, but I will say that I am quite proud that at the very beginning of this program was when Thomas was born, and I've been able to stick to it. There was literally the week he was born that I was only able to run twice that week rather than 3 times. I was also only able to do CrossFit twice as well. But that was because he was born on the Sunday and we came out of the hospital on the Tuesday.
Yeah.
And then the rest of the week I was still able to hit those sessions, So I am quite, I don't props myself too much here, but I was able to get into the running program immediately.
I was quite surprised. I thought we were going to have to just do a reset.
Yeah.
And I didn't say anything, and then you came along and started doing the runs.
Yeah.
From that point of view, your attitude of self-accountability, well, I'm here, so you have to be accountable to me a little bit.
Yeah.
But your attitude from that point of view is fantastic. You go a long way. I've heard you guys talk about this in terms of just CrossFit. Consistency beats almost everything.
Yeah, consistency
so you can go,
is key.
Do I have the right program? Am I doing the right workouts? Well, if you're not turning up, in the right number of times, you don't even have to ask those questions because you're not even at that point.
Yeah.
You've got to be consistent, and you're good at that. I think you understand that. I've been super impressed with your sort of mental approach. I've seen you doing your little Instagram reels. I'm running in the rain.
Yeah.
Weather is a mindset.
Weather is a mindset.
All that kind of stuff. But all of that is extremely useful. You shouldn't undervalue. You don't, but I think people do undervalue that.
Yeah.
They go, I hear people all the time saying, it's too hot today. I should have gone out this morning. It's too hot now. I'm not going to do it. Well, just go out and scale it back.
Yeah.
Do half. Do slower. Scale it according to the conditions.
Yeah.
If you're supposed to be running at 6-minute pace and it's too tough for you because it's really hot outside, run at 7-minute pace.
Yeah.
That's an equivalent effort.
Yeah.
Under those conditions. If it's raining, well, skin's waterproof.
Yeah.
You're going to have a shower afterwards.
Yeah.
You're going to get changed. My approach is think in terms of, okay, on Wednesday I run, so I'm going to run. Now, here I am at Wednesday. What do I have to do? Oh, it's wet. I'll have to wear a jacket.
Yeah.
Oh, it's too hot. I'll have to go just in a vest or bare-chested.
I kind of have this
to go
mindset
slower or whatever, but getting it done, being consistent, counts for a lot.
There's the can-do mindset that we talked about earlier, right? And there's a couple ways that you could look at it. There's the way of just scale back and just kind of do what you can in the moment. And then there's also this mindset that I kind of go through that kind of triggers me to get a little bit more in it because I want it to be harder. Like the more rainy it is, the harder it's going to be, the better it's going to be. The more I'm going to get out of that training session. The hotter it is, the more sunny it is. Good.
Yeah, so you're sort of flipping the script, really.
That's what I want. Like I'm signing up for something hard. If I'm signing up for something hard and I just do the easy things, well, then when it comes time to do something hard, you're going to either want to back out, you're going to want to potentially give up on it, right? So it's easy when you're motivated 16 weeks out of a program to say, oh, well, I want to sign up for this half marathon, or even when you see people run the half marathon, you're like, I want to sign up for the half marathon.
I want to do that. I just don't want to do all the things to get to that point.
But the thing is, when it's raining outside and, it's freaking 35 degrees and sunny and not a cloud in the sky, fuck yeah. Like I want to get out there and I want to run during that hot time, Like this is what's going to make me better.
I think the thing is that if you take that and you apply that to your exercise goal, you get personal fitness and those kind of super beneficial things. But you also risk to generate for yourself personal transformation.
Yeah.
So you get into the mentality, and I've seen people do this, you get into the mentality which is, I didn't think I could do that, but I can. What else in my life do I think I can't do?
Yeah.
Screw that, I can do that. And suddenly you become a can-do person, not only for your sport, but you've reprogrammed your mindset that you can now apply to, oh, my family wants to do this. I don't think we can do that. I don't think we can afford it. Oh, I can work out how to do that. Or I can do it later, or I can do it slightly different.
At their job?
Yeah, at your job, in your workplace. And
school,
so I think that one of the beautiful things about sport and applying yourself to sport is it teaches you things that you can apply to everything.
Yeah, well said. Coming back to the running here. I'm 4 weeks into the program. 12 weeks for me. Day 1 of week 5 starts tomorrow. What can I expect seeing forward? First 4 weeks was just about kind of building the mileage a little bit.
Your long run's going to get longer.
Gotcha.
So you're not up to.
Would you say just my long runs, or would you say all my runs are going to get a little bit longer?
All your runs are going to get a little bit longer because your overall mileage. I'm coming to that. Your overall mileage is going to get more.
Yeah.
So.
To give people an idea, let's just say like the Tuesdays that I've been running have been just a 6K easy pace. Yeah. The Thursday has been my long run, and that's kind of had a gradual increase of the distance. Yeah. And it's also then it started to have strides. So for those of you guys who don't know what strides are really fast runs. They're not necessarily sprints, but they're fast runs.
Kind of sort of 80%.
So you're pushing it at the end of a long run, which is where you're going to feel the most pain at the end of a half marathon, let's say, right? So I'm guessing that's the mindset, that's the approach behind the programming of that. So you put the strides at the end of the long run
Some
for
of it
that.
is nervous. You're programming your nerves to be accustomed to running faster than you're running without fatiguing you out because you're only doing it 20 seconds at a time.
Yeah.
And also when you go faster, you naturally go into a better form. So you're actually muscle memorying yourself into a better running form.
That makes sense because sometimes towards the end of long runs, you start to feel like you're dragging your feet a bit. Yeah, gotcha.
So what we're doing is getting to the end of a run. Oh, that's tough.
Yeah.
And I'm getting a bit weary. A couple of strides. Anybody can do it for 20 seconds. Let's go.
Yeah.
And you reprogram your sort of muscle memory back into good form before you close it down.
Yeah. So that was the Thursday. Thursday was a long run followed with some strides at the end. And then Sunday was the easy 5K, and then it turned into 6K with the CrossFit Max Run crew. That was the first 4 weeks.
Yeah.
What are we going to see in the next...
Well, one of your easy runs is going to become the Something of Substance run.
Yeah.
So that's coming in
I
now.
saw that. That's tomorrow. I got some like tempo in there.
Yeah. So you've now got some speed that is probably slightly faster than you're going to run your half marathon.
Oh, it is. I saw.
Yeah.
I'm very excited about it.
Yeah. It's only for a little while.
Yeah.
Now 1K.
Yeah.
Then take a rest. Then one more K.
Mm-hmm.
And that'll build, and the paces will change. What'll happen is I'll build some blocks that get slightly bigger, that are they're faster than your half marathon. They're getting bigger, and as they get bigger, they'll get slower, and they'll come towards your half marathon pace.
Okay.
I'll probably alternate that because I haven't got another run to play with. I'll alternate that with some other efforts which are very fast, but only for short stints.
Gotcha.
What they call VO2 max
Okay.
runs. You don't need much of that, but you might get a bit bored if I don't give you any at all.
So Tuesday becomes the SOS day.
Yeah.
Thursday continues to be long run, and that's where we're going to really start to build mileage.
Yeah.
Am I going to still see strides on the Thursday?
You might see some strides popping up, or depending on what the total week is giving you.
Gotcha.
You might also see some half marathon towards the end as it's starting to build up.
Yeah.
Hopefully we can build it up relatively quickly, so you're not like right at the end of your training program and you still haven't done
The mileage.
the mileage. If we can do that, we'll start to put in little blocks of half marathon pace.
Gotcha. Okay.
At
And
the
then
same time as we're building up, every so often we'll take a week where we consolidate, where we don't build.
is that every 4 weeks?
Yeah, about every 4 weeks. Yeah.
Gotcha.
But it'll depend on how you react.
Yeah.
You know, if you start to say, "Oh, I'm fatigued," or maybe I'm building you too quickly,
Yeah.
and you go, "Oh, I was running and I thought the last run I did was just a one-off, but it seems I'm sluggish." We'll adjust.
Yeah. So that's the Thursday. Continue to build mileage, and then on the Sunday we're gonna keep doing run club. I saw the distance kept at 6K.
You like to run with the run club, so I'm trying
Yeah.
to. You do that.
Yeah.
You got to have fun.
Yeah. Exactly.
So fun for you is doing that. So you might have to do a little bit before or a little bit after.
Yeah, I did see you started
But-
adding strides in the
yeah.
run club as well. So now I have 6K plus strides at the end. That'll be fun. Hopefully someone from the run club will tag
We'll
along.
want to do that, yes.
Any listeners who join us on Sundays will, if you guys want to tag along on those little 20-second bursts there, feel free to join in on those.
Yeah, if you don't think 5K is enough.
Okay. Well, that seems like a fun breakdown.
Yep.
4 weeks in.
When you get close, hopefully we'll have time for a taper.
Yeah.
So,
What's
we
taper,
won't put-
like a week out? Taper's like what we
I'm
call
not
like a
sure.
deload in CrossFit.
Yeah,
or
so you'll
just
do a
strength training.
deload, for
Gotcha.
at least a week. Yeah.
Okay. So then I guess if we're on the whole like
not a
cutback
completely
weeks.
unload, just a deload.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like if we think of it, like right now we're on schedule to do that because our 4th week is always like a cutback week. So I guess the 4th week would be, or the 16th week would be leading into the half marathon.
Yeah.
Okay. So that will work out pretty
What
well.
that'll do is it'll contain some race pace effort, but not very much of it.
Yeah. Well, anything to add before we close out here?
No, I think it's going well so far. I mean, you've
Wow.
delivered really pretty well. I'll give you a schedule.
Thank you.
You color it in. I told you to color it in green, but you've colored it in pink.
Yes. I'm happy you got to fill people in. It was like an Excel sheet on the first week. I was like, I'm going to just color this circle in pink.
But that's cool.
All right. Well, thank you for joining today. And before we end this episode, we always end it with a client of the week.
Pew, 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 pew.
Susie will be so proud. And this client is someone that you actually just started working with within the last couple days and has been away for several months. She had I don't know what you call it, not a stage, but I guess she worked abroad for 3 months in Amsterdam because she's a pilot, and she's come back the last week. She's been killing it in her CrossFit, And she is also signed up for the same half marathon that I am signed up for.
Ooh,
and of course, she went to you and said, my goal is
sub 2 hours.
So shout out to Siobhan for being client of the week and just being an awesome person. Do you have any...
Cool, Siobhan.
Do you want to give her any advice on this?
She's a better endurance monster than you.
She
so
is,
she's
yeah.
going to eat the K's up easier than
Yeah.
you.
She does have a lot more endurance background.
And
She's actually run a half.
And she has less power than you, so her focus might be more towards the speed rather than the distance.
Yeah.
I might ramp the distance up quicker on Siobhan than you, and that's where it changes.
Yeah.
We talk about speedsters and endurance monsters.
Yeah.
I think you're a speedster and she's an endurance monster.
Yesterday after the run club, I was like, oh, how did your meeting go with Alan? And you had her go and run the park run here in Montreal.
Yeah,
and she did a 26-minute 5K. And anyway, so I was like, what's your goal for the half marathon? And she said sub 2 hours like you. And she's like, I hope I run faster than you. And I looked at her and I said, good luck.
It's on.
All right, we'll end it there. Thank you so much for joining. Go check out Alan and your running partner Liz running book reviews on all Apple, Spotify, Amazon. Imagine all the podcasts.
I mean, if you just want to get a little bit more informed on running, there are 90 something running books covered.
Insane.
So you can just pick one. If you're into training, some of them are training. If you're into motivation, some of them are stories.
Yeah.
There's trails, there's track. There's all kinds of stuff on running there.
Yeah. Anyways, thanks for joining. Guys, we hope you enjoyed this podcast. We had our first guest.
Honored.
Yeah.
I'm absolutely honored.
Maybe we'll have to get you on again.
Can't wait to see what my fee is.
One massive hug.
Great.
All right, guys. Hope you enjoy the rest of your day. And make sure you give us a rating and review. And we will catch you in the next one. See ya.